Good evening and welcome to the Creator Series Season 9 finale. 16 races, 6 different race winners, and one very controversial Styrophobia wildcard, and we have both championships yet to be decided. It's Tiamat Marduk, the reigning champion, versus Karim, who's hot on his heels. One will be crowned in tonight's Mystery Grand Prix. I'm your host for today, Hayden Gullis, obviously full-time driver with Williams, but taking over the presenter role for tonight's show. And joining me as my pundit, as our clipbook guy, it is Carl. Carl, welcome to the championship finale of Season 9 in Creator Series. How excited are you for tonight's battle?
I'm stoked, mate. I'm absolutely stoked. It's going to be an enthralling encounter. Like you say, Drivers' Championship, tantalisingly close. 3 points between Tiamat Marduk and Formula Karim, the reigning F1 champion, versus the last F2 champion on F1 24. And if that wasn't good enough of a script, there's only 6 points between Mercedes in first and Aston Martin in third. It's anyone's game today. It's going to be a fantastic night.
Yeah, we've got it all to play for. There is lots to watch up and down the field. And it's going to make for one very exciting race and sprint race. This is the format for today. We're going to be jumping straight into a sprint race, then into a short qualifying, followed up by a full 100% race. And you might also be wondering, what track are we going to be racing at today? Well, that is a complete mystery, and we'll be getting to a spin wheel and talking about the tracks that we will be going to later on. But let's focus on the big moment of today. And that is, of course, Formula Karim versus Tiamat Marduk. Now, Tiamat Marduk, he's got 2 championships under his belt already, but is gunning for this third. And the consistency that he's had over the season, you've got to say, has been tremendous. Because if you look at the race wins compared to that of Formula Karim, he hasn't got that many, but the consistency's just kept him up there.
Agreed. Completely agreed. I mean, Karim's got 6 wins across the season. That in itself is a dominant statistic, or at least it should be. But like you say, Ben's consistency, that's put him right at the forefront of the action. Got that slim margin of gap, but like you say, the format today, you have that sprint race first. They'll be starting right at the back of the pecking order, and it's about building up that confidence. If they can get up the field, if they can make an impression early on, that can only bode well for the race tonight.
As for Formula Karim, though, whilst he has had the most races between those two, and I think the most races this season, race wins, the consistency compared to Tiamat Marduk hasn't been there. And I think this has just been a learning phase for Karim so far this season. But to be challenging for the championship, obviously, is great for him in his first season in Formula 1. But he has been learning how to cope in a series like this. Because it's not like your bog standard normal league racing where all the drivers are within a couple of hundredths of each other, a couple of tenths of each other. And they all are, they drive on lines that you expect them to. You know, Formula Karim might be down the pecking order, like in today's sprint race, and you're coming up against drivers who might be breaking those 50 meters early that catch you out. And I think Ben, because he's been here for so long, he's been here since the beginning, he understands that. He knows which battles to pick and choose, whereas Karim has been finding his way across the season. But if you look at the most recent races, maybe he's found his feet.
Yeah, I mean, beginning of the season, it was a sort of a slow burner for Karim. Obviously, he got the pole position at the first round, starting right on the front for exactly what he wanted, but then the races sometimes just haven't gone his way, whether that's just bad luck or whether he's been embroiled in a bit of trouble at times. Sometimes it just hasn't quite gone his way, and like you say, it's been a learning curve for him. Ben has that experience. Experience is a virtue for him. More importantly than that, in my opinion, patience has been a virtue for him as well. I think back to the British Grand Prix, for instance. He seemed down and out multiple times. Safety cars didn't go his way. But he played the patient game. He let the tyres come into their window on those soft tyres, and with 20-lap-old softs, still managed to get the win. Experience is a virtue tonight, and he really can use that to his advantage. But it's all going to come down to what track we have tonight as well.
Certainly so. I have got which drivers they want as their favourites and least favourites. We'll get to that in a bit, but carrying on with these two. And the consistency and the patience is obviously really going to play out today, because it is a sprint race weekend, and sprint races in the Creator Series, the sprint race is decided by reverse championship order, with those who are reserves who are racing and making their debut, they're going to be starting from the back. So the sprint race is going to have Tiamat Marduk and Formula Karim nearer the back. But if we look to the previous sprint race that we've had in China, Tiamat Marduk came out on top in that one, starting further back than Formula Karim.
Absolutely, yes. And like you say, that could also come down to experience. He's been with these guys for a long time. He knows exactly what the inner workings of this league are and how to exploit all of the gaps possible, and he can use that again tonight. I'm not entirely sure what side they'll be starting, depending on how many reserves there are and stipulations of that, of course, but that could be a big momentum swing in favour of one driver or the other. Whether they have that inside line or whether potentially the outside line, you just don't know. There's all the elements that have to combine for each of these drivers today. Like I say earlier though, this sprint race is going to be super important. To start on the right foot, to be able to have marvellous momentum going forward into that race where the big points are. Another thing, of course, in this battle of psychological warfare, Kareem is the one chasing the championship. At this stage, Ben has the ascendancy, and that just might be a slight devil on his shoulder. But if he manages to weather it in the sprint race, if he holds that advantage, that can only be a good thing.
Now, you touched upon it earlier, the Drivers' Championship isn't the only thing that is up for grabs today. We also have the Constructors, and there are 3 teams fighting for it. You have McLaren, you have Mercedes, which our 2 championship rivals are a part of, and as we look at the standings here, you also have Aston Martin in there with still a hope and a prayer, but they have got their main driver, GB, not racing today. Instead, we have an old fan favourite stepping in, but more to that later on. So this Constructors' Championship could also really rely on those 2 drivers who are trying to back up their teammates. We're talking Adam Sanderson and we're talking Nick Flies, who are further down the standings, but of course that does mean they start further up in the sprint race.
Of course, and you touch upon the teamwork as well. McLaren have been no stranger to tremendous teamwork. I mean, look at the amount of times Nick sometimes has sacrificed his qualifying session to give Kareem an extra bit of slipstream, to give him a lethal dose of DRS. That's what got him the pole, for instance, in Silverstone, and got him in good contention for qualifying at the Japanese Grand Prix as well. They have been not shy to help each other out. Mercedes a bit less so at times, but like you say, teamwork is going to go a long way, and while we're at it, credit to Aston Martin for the consistency that they've shown across both of their drivers. It's been immense. I'm looking as well at the battle between Red Bull, Haas, Alpine. Might not necessarily be for the winning positions, but it's the last race we get on F1 24 for all of these drivers. They'll be wearing their hearts on their sleeve, prizes at stake. 5th place up for grabs, only 11 points between Red Bull in 5th and Alpine down in 7th. It's anyone's game tonight.
Now, of course, it is Mystery Grand Prix weekend, so that means that the track is a complete mystery. But there were 5 options that the drivers knew about at the start of the week, and those are Brazil, Vegas, Abu Dhabi, Singapore, and Baku. Now, I've spoken to our main protagonists tonight. I've spoken to Karim, Ben, Adam Sanderson, Nick Flies about their tracks that they are maybe, their favourites, but also that they're most suited to, and those that they really, really don't want tonight. Now, for Ben, he is gunning for Vegas and Brazil, 2 tracks he absolutely loves, does not want Abu Dhabi. On the other side of things, Karim wants Abu Dhabi. That is the track that he is wanting tonight, but he doesn't want Baku, because of course there's potential to cause carnage. I did so myself last time we raced there when I caused the biggest pile-up we've ever seen in Creator Series history. As for their teammates though, Adam, he wants Vegas. Great slipstream fest, lots of potential for overtakes if there's a mistake in qualifying. Doesn't want Abu Dhabi as well, doesn't want Baku. Whereas for Nick Flies, wants Brazil and doesn't want Baku. So it looks like most drivers not wanting Baku, but interesting that Ben and Karim, they're opposites on Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, they just rather not have the carnage, really. I mean, it's great for content, but I mean, I completely understand their perspective on that. There will be safety cars that breed safety cars, particularly at a track like Baku, maybe even Singapore, to be honest with you, and don't count out Vegas as well in that safety car sweep. I'm surprised they haven't, well, Ben obviously mentioned Vegas, but none of the other drivers really too bothered about Vegas. Of course, you've got the Las Vegas Strip, and with how powerful Slipstream and DRS is, it's almost a guarantee. Each track will have their own elements, their own different pieces of momentum. It's going to be interesting, but it all comes down to what track is chosen tonight in terms of what dynamic they have and how they potentially play out the racing here.
Thank you very much, Carl. We're going to talk to you later on after we see what track that we get. And of course, when you do an amazing job later on throughout the broadcast on the Clipbook. Now, it's not just the 2 of us that are on the show tonight. I am joined by the 2 Toms in the commentary booth. The guys have been taking you through most of the season so far. We've got TK and we've got Tom Wilkinson. Welcome to tonight's season finale. TK, I'll start with you. What are we most excited for tonight?
Well, I think there's a tale of 2 stories here. You've got both championships which are really in contention and one that actually could go down to the final lap. But actually, I want to talk about the villain arc, about one of the reservists that is coming in. I'm sure we'll speak about that a little bit later on. But if there's ever a tale for potentially an underdog story, tonight could certainly be the night.
And for Tom, for you, well, you're both Toms, Mr. Tom Wilkinson. That's not going to get confusing at all as we go on. We, of course, worked together last week on the comms. It was a very exciting race where Karim just kind of made those small errors in the closing phases. What do you reckon he's worked on this week to make sure that that doesn't happen?
I think it's probably a mentality thing. I think we saw, not just from the two protagonists, but everybody that was involved in that lead battle. I think we had like 8 cars covered by a second at one point. It was really close quarters racing, and at times that can become very, very stressful. So I understand where he's coming from, where he says he doesn't want those circuits that will induce a lot of chaos potentially. I think he's hoping for a calm race. I would say he's out and out the quickest driver across the course of the season, and probably the quickest driver that's here tonight. So I can understand where he's coming from. I think if it's a mentality thing, just needs to calm down. He goes back to being the hunter as well. He was leading the championship coming into Saudi Arabia. Now he finds himself behind.
Maybe enjoys being the hunter a lot more. Our 5 tracks for tonight, we spoke about it briefly, but we've got Brazil, Vegas, Abu Dhabi, Singapore, and Baku. From a commentary standpoint, and two people that have watched these guys racing the most this season, for you, TK, which one are you most looking forward to being picked? Which one do you want from a broadcast standpoint?
It's hard to pick just one track from those 5. I've got 2 tracks in mind for very different reasons. Brazil is one of my favourite tracks for racing. I think it's one of those circuits that really promotes it, especially the long run down into turn 4 through the little S section in the middle. It's just absolutely beautiful and really, well, let's just say chaotic sometimes, with a little bit of a dive bomb down the inside. On the flip side, if I want to see a little bit of action, well, let's take us back to Hayden Car Park Corner.
Well, the less said about that, the better. I'm hoping that Carl isn't bringing up a clip for us to talk about later on if that one is picked. But it is nearly time to find out what track that we get racing to. Quickly, one last note from you, Tom Wilkinson. Which track do you think that the drivers are least looking forward to tonight?
Singapore, I think that might be a bit of a bore fest for some of them. They'll maybe have bad memories from the last time we raced it, start of Season 8. We had F2 cars. Feels like such a long time ago, 6 months ago or something. So they haven't been there for a little while in the Creator Series. I think that'll be one they want to avoid.
Yeah, and they'll be avoiding and praying that, of course, that there is no F2 racing tonight compared to the last time that we went to Singapore. But it's time to find out what track we're going to be racing at tonight. So you two, take it over.
Well, thank you, Hayden, and welcome everybody to the wheel spin for tonight's Mystery Grand Prix. It will be going in elimination order, so every time that wheel is spun, a track is selected, it will be removed from our Wheel of Misfortune. Well, with no further ado, Tom, let's get this show underway. Let's get the spinning onto the track. Let's spin the wheel, Mr. Producer, obviously Gareth beautifully in the back end, getting us underway. And it looks like Brazil will be the first track eliminated from tonight's endeavours.
I'm a little bit disappointed by that. That's my favourite track. On the game, I don't think it's quite as good as it is in real life, and maybe for action as well. I think the 3 tracks on there, I think will probably provide a little bit more carnage.
Yeah, I think there's one more that I'd like to see go, potentially Vegas, and then we're down to 3 that, as you said, could be catastrophe. Let's spin the wheel again, Tom, and let's see where we're not going once again.
Come on, let's go. We've got 4 tracks. We know what we want. I think we both want the same thing. Hopefully it's Singapore that goes, okay. I think we can all rest easy now, I think. Singapore was probably the one that everybody was thinking that might be a bit of a slog for us. So Singapore's gone. I'm pretty happy with the 3 we've got left.
Yeah, certainly 3 tracks that could be an exciting evening for all of our creators. Well, let's not stand on ceremony. Let's go for one more time at least, to bring it down to our final 2 options. And let's see where the wheel's going to stop. We are not going to be going. Oh, that's incredibly close.
Keep going!
We're not going to Abu Dhabi, folks.
This is the ideal scenario, I think. Vegas or Baku. We're going to have carnage either way. TK, what would you prefer? I would definitely think I'd prefer Vegas.
See, I'd love to see Baku. I want to see someone do a last lap overtake towards the finish line with DRS to decide the season.
Come on, then. Let's decide it. What are we going to do? Vegas or Baku? Spin it for the final time, Gareth. 50-50 shout. What is it going to be? It is going to be, comfortably, it is going to be Viva Las Vegas.
Certainly is indeed. The wheel went all out, put all their money on red, and well, we've gone to Sin City, folks. We're heading to Las Vegas, the beautiful boulevard that is home for tonight's endeavours. Of course, last time we ran that back in Season 8, round number 9. And of course, if you can remember that far back, of course on the EA Sports F1 socials, on their YouTube channel as well, where we had some dramatic racing, both in the dry and rainy conditions. And well, that lines up. What a fantastic season finale here for Season 9.
100%. I think that's the track that I probably would have wanted to go for. Vegas, under the night sky as well. I think that's going to be a cracker.
Certainly is indeed. Of course, Meraki winning the first race there, and then Alex Gillen winning the second in Las Vegas last time out. But at least for the time being, we're going to throw it back to Hayden and, of course, Carl alongside him as they take us through the intros.
The track has been decided then. We are heading to Viva Las Vegas, where, of course, we had our first ever double-header weekend. 2 races. This time it's just going to be the one main one, but again, there is a second race in the sprint. So we're getting 2 races at Vegas once again. A really great track, and one that is going to throw up a lot of overtaking, especially for a sprint race where we've got the grid flipped in terms of ability.
Yeah, two for the price of one. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm glad. I think that's the good ending, Las Vegas. I was listening in to the likes to the VC, Formula Kareem and co, just seeing what they kind of gauged it as. Obviously, Kareem was gutted when Abu Dhabi left. Sorry, not in our control. But equally, all the drivers pretty happy that it was Vegas and not Baku, which I'm ashamed of because now I can't show any clips of Baku. But yeah, 2 for the price of 1 in Las Vegas. Obviously, it comes with its challenges. You've got the straight line, the Las Vegas Strip. That could be a big deciding factor, but you've got that heavy braking zone at the end. They've got to slam on the anchors. Oh, well. What an evening of racing we're going to have. And Las Vegas as well.
Well, Formula Kareem's a driver that's not raced around here in the F1 scene. He did race in F2, and in that race, he indeed finished second in the main race, and he finished third in the sprint. TMM Marduk, on the other hand, last time he raced there, was a double race for those guys as well. He got 10 points, picked up, which would be 7th in the first race, and then picked up a 3rd position in the second. So both have good performances around here, and I think it's a nice balanced middle ground for the 2 of them.
I agree. Yeah, this is a very level playing field for both of these drivers. It gives them the opportunity to show their supreme skill sets. There's a reason that they're battling for the championship today. One has been merciless in the amount of race wins that they've had. The other one has just been creeping in with that consistency, and they've shown that experience has taken them a long, long way. And round a track like Vegas, where there is all the potential for chaos breeding chaos, that could pay off in spades. But we'll see who lays all their cards on the table here this weekend.
It's time to take a look at who is going to be driving tonight. Of course, in Creator Series, we don't always have the standard drivers every single week. Some drivers are going to be missing, like myself not racing for Williams this weekend, so who is replacing me and who is replacing the other drivers. Here is the driver lineup for tonight. So we've got Alex Gillen out at VCARB. Ryan L83 making his debut. Might be a name that a few guys are familiar with if you've been watching F1 content for quite a long time. Making his debut in the Creator Series alongside Zafso. Then it is the return of Skyzy, who went wheel to wheel with TMM Marduk, and it all ended in tears at his home track in France. Will he take redemption? Will he take out TMM Marduk to help Karim? We will find out there. All the same at McLaren, and it is Brendan Miles making his debut, a TikToker, TikTok Formula 1 creator, who's going to be lining up alongside Infratic in the Ferrari. For Alpine, it's Razin Shai and Tom, who's made some great appearances at the end of the season, despite missing quite a lot of the start. Kick is all the same as well with Formula Kind F1 Alex. Mr. Dale drops out last minute, so Meraki will be lining up alongside Cutter Lucas, who did race earlier on in the season. Mike Stasio is back, replacing me in Williams with Mercedes, an all-star lineup, of course. TMM Marduk and Adam Sanderson. In fact, both those drivers racing from the same room. They've got a LAN set up for the first time ever in Creator Series with Haas, as usual, with Scott Taylor and Lolin Noba. So looking at those lineups, I think the one name that we both are very eager to see tonight is Skyzy. He's made 50 performances so far in the Creator Series, 7 wins and 18 podiums. Can he shake things up? It's time to get racing for the sprint race. Let's throw you back to our commentary team, Tom and Tom.
Well, thank you very much, Hayden. And Tom, my apologies. Starting grid for yourself.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Remember, sprint first of all, and we're going to have the reservists starting right at the back, and then from there it is in reverse championship order. So on the back grid, Skyzy returning, and with one of the OGs of the F1 scene alongside him, Ryan L83. That's going to be a fascinating one off the line. forward, Brendan Miles, another debutant coming in. And then the reigning champion and championship leader from 17th. Formula Kareem and Meraki. One former champion, one gunning for the championship. How quickly can they make their way through and avoid the chaos that ensues as well? Lolinoba come on strongly in recent weeks. He's alongside Razin Chai, who in the second half of the season, probably the most unluckiest driver I think we have ever seen in the Creator Series. Ahead of them, Formula Kai, usually a qualifying merchant, doesn't typically start this low, and Datga Vince trying to force the hand of drivers around him and propel Aston Martin to another Constructors' Championship. Into the top 10, Riccio 3 and Infratic, big opportunity for some points for those two. Fabio have been doing fairly well in recent weeks, picked up a driver of the day not too long ago. Season 1 champion, Safso going from 8th, and then Nick Flies, the teammate of Formula Kareem, can he try and get involved with Adam Sanderson and maybe help out Formula Kareem. Scott Taylor alongside Tom Beener in the Alpine. Watch out for Tom starting this far forward. He could be a serious threat to pick up another sprint victory. Adam Sanderson sitting alongside Tim McMarlett, but not on the grid. He's got F1 Alex for company. And then on the very front row, starting from first and second, Cutter Lucas and Mike Stachio return as reserves. And they have got a big opportunity